Hello everyone, I'm Kimberly Adams. Welcome back to Make Me Smart, where we make today make sense.
And I'm Megan McCarty-Carino. Thanks everyone for listening or watching on the YouTube live stream. Today is Friday, August 8th. Welcome to Economics on Tap.
Yes, it's our weekly Friday happy hour because we all need a little happy at the end of the kind of weeks we've been having. So we're going to do some news. We're going to play a game. But first, Megan, what are you drinking?
All right, so I kind of slammed this one together with whatever I had around, but it's a Contratto bitter spritz. I'm very into spritzes because they're like a very low ABV thing that I can handle doing the live stream with. And Contratto bitter is a bitter. It's an Italian bitter, kind of in the family of like a Campari, but as you can see, it is not as electric colored as Campari. It's sort of a more subtle and sophisticated take on like a Campari bitter is how I'm gonna put it.
Like, do you know what it's made of?
24 herbs and, the proprietary herbs and spices and
So it's not the artichoke one.
It's not the artichoke one, although I still do have a large amount of that, but I was trying to mix it up so that I don't always have the Chinar spritz. What have you got going on?
So I also did what are sometimes called one of my kitchen cocktails, where it's like, what do I have in my fridge that I can throw together? And so I have some lemon mint shrub from this company that called Element that used to, I don't know if they still make the shrubs, but they used to, and they're really good. And then with that, I put bourbon, 4 roses for anybody who cares, and then some sparkling San Pellegrino, the lemon one, to bring in that lemon flavor. And then I had some, because I am me, some rosemary simple syrup I had made a while back. And so dumped in some rosemary simple syrup to, with the rosemary from my garden. And then from my garnish, as you saw me running minutes before the show, I went up to my garden and got some mint for my garnish. And so that is my cocktail. It's actually a real cocktail for the first time in
very herbaceous together. We have 24 herbs in mine, and we have, I don't know, 2 herbs at least in
3.
yours. Yeah, 3.
Yeah. Well,
Beautiful.
2. No, because lemon is not an herb. All right, let's see what everybody else is drinking. In the YouTube chat, Flippin' Out is having a black cherry margarita. I appreciate that. Hans is having Monster energy drink while I do my happy hour laundry. Good way to multitask. Let's see. Mary Beth has gin with fresh mint from the garden. Sorry, Kimberly. I'll allow it because of the fresh mint. I don't do well with gin, Megan, as you know from having gone out with me. Oh, goodness. Yes. The kitchen cocktails, as Carrie T is saying, the kitchen cocktails make us all feel like we're family. We don't always need the fancy cocktails. No, throw in whatever you have and it becomes a cocktail. Be happy. It's Friday.
Nice.
Let's see. You got a Kona Big Wave. I appreciate all the people chiming in with the gin is the devil. Yes,
Yeah.
The story. Anyway, what news did you bring, Megan, to shift to a more serious note?
Well, I kind of cheated a little bit, and I'm bringing a piece of news from Marketplace Tech, which I'm hosting. And it's also a little bit of a preview of something that we've got on the show next week. And it's an interview about a new report from the Algorithmic Justice League, which is a nonprofit group that researches bias and fairness in artificial intelligence systems. And they just put out this new report about how people have been experiencing facial recognition in airports. So the TSA has been kind of experimenting with facial recognition at security checkpoints since about 2017, but it really rolled the tech out kind of widely last year to about 250 airports. And I have to confess that, I mean, this kind of, it popped up. I don't actually remember when I started noticing it at airports, and I really didn't take much note of it. But But so yeah, this is when you kind of check in with your ID, your travel documents before you kind of go through, the big long security line where you don't take off your shoes anymore. But what the Algorithmic Justice League did was they interviewed people about their experience. The number one topic was, did you know that it's optional? Which, a lot of people do not, including myself, honestly, it didn't really register that this is opt-in. And so the report found that 99% of the people that they talked to were not verbally told of their right to refuse the facial recognition. More than 50% saw no kind of signage notifying them that they could opt out. 3/4 didn't receive any notice that facial recognition was actually being used. And then of those that said that they did try to opt out, 2/3 reported some kind of negative feedback from the TSA. So this was just a really interesting slice of something that I barely knew was happening, but obviously, I think facial recognition is always controversial. Obviously, this is a security context where it is a lot more accurate than some of the other uses of facial recognition that we hear about, where it's comparing one image to maybe like thousands or millions of other images. This is comparing the image of yourself live in person with the image on your license. So it is a more accurate use, but definitely raises some privacy concerns for sure.
It's so funny. I must be in the minority because I 100% noticed as soon as that started in airports. And I saw the sign, because there's a sign right in front of like the TSA agent that says this is optional. And I opt out every single time. And I often do it kind of loudly. And I'm like, I would like to decline the facial scan, please, just to sort of remind people that you don't have to do it. And I don't know that I've necessarily received any negative feedback. Often the agents are just surprised because they get into this rhythm of just like taking people's IDs and saying, look at the camera. And I'm like, no, I don't want to look at the camera. And they're just like, oh, okay. And it's no big deal. Although the last time I was traveling, I was in a smaller airport where the same agent was directing the pre-check line and the regular line, and she kind of fumbled when I said that I didn't want to do the scan, and somehow even on pre-check I got sent into the regular scan line.
Oh no.
I didn't like it, and I'm like, was I being penalized for it? I don't know. I think maybe she was just busy, but nevertheless, I always opt out. And which is hilarious because I also have global entry, which is a face scan as well. So I don't know that it actually matters, but I don't know. Since it's optional, I opt out, just on general principle.
And that is one of the, tips that the head of the Algorithmic Justice League, Joy Bulamwini, told us is, if you're going to do it, if you feel confident doing it, maybe not everyone does feel confident when they're traveling through, these checkpoints, but if you feel confident about it, do it loud and proud so everyone else can know and be clued in that this is optional. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're looking for folks with stories about this, yeah?
Yes, exactly. So we want to hear from, listeners, from folks who have been flying during this travel season. If you noticed the TSA facial recognition system, if you have had, any kind of experience with it, did you let TSA agents, use the facial recognition? Did you not? Did you try to opt out? How did it go? So we want you to leave us a voicemail at 508-UB-SMART or send us a voice memo to makemesmart@marketplace.org. And you could be featured in this upcoming episode of Marketplace Tech.
It's interesting. Several folks are pointing out that in other countries, it's not optional. Like I've definitely traveled internationally where they require you to hand over your passport and allow a facial scan to come into the country. Rich D is saying, look, they do it at baseball games and at Disneyland.
Madison Square Garden. Right.
Miguel Castro asked if I'm the one delaying the line. No, it doesn't take that much time.
I think that's a big thing is that when you're at the airport, you're often rushed, you're stressed, you're not really thinking about your biometric data and, privacy, security and stuff like that. I think a lot of people just, yes, you are the weird one.
I am the weird one. But you know what? I've been able to hang on to a job for a while, unlike any of the people trying to run the IRS, which is the news story I'm bringing today, which is news. The New York Times reported at first that Trump is removing his IRS chief just 2 months after this guy was confirmed. This was Billy Long, a former Republican congressman who's no longer going to serve as the head of the tax agency. It's a little bit unclear at this point because this is based on multiple, reports that are not being identified. I'm going to read here from the New York Times because it looks like Mr. Long and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who's going to serve as acting commissioner until a permanent replacement takes office, had clashed at times. Three of the people said Mr. Long had remarked to some colleagues that he had to ask Mr. Bessent for permission for everything he did at the IRS. Two of the people said. Others said that Mr. Long had at times appeared to get out ahead of the IRS and the Treasury Department. And then the AP points out in its coverage of the story that before Long's confirmation, the IRS shuffled through 4 acting leaders, including one who resigned over a deal between the IRS and the Department of Homeland Security to share immigrants' tax data. Remember,
Yeah.
it was such a huge scandal, and it feels like it's been lost in all of the other scandals. Anyway, to share that tax data with Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, and then another whose appointment led to a fight between former Trump advisor Elon Musk and Bessent. So it's been extraordinarily contentious to run this
Wow.
agency in the
I
midst
hadn't
of
realized
all
how much drama was going on at the IRS.
the drama at the IRS in the midst of all of the staffing cuts. As the New York Times is reporting, more than 25,000 people have left the agency under this Trump administration, which is about a quarter of the staff it had at the start of January. And worth noting that Congress and the White House just signed off on a massive tax bill that includes many changes
Right.
to the tax law, many of the components of which are supposed to kick in the next filing season. And one of the things that supposedly pissed off the Trump administration was that Mr. Long was saying that they were going to delay the start of the filing season to try to accommodate all of these changes, which I guess the White House didn't like, reportedly. But this tax filing season is going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess.
This is a very relevant story to me because I spent no less than 3.5 hours on hold with the IRS yesterday and did not get through. I never got to
Probably
a
because of
person,
those 25,000 people who left the agency.
right? Yeah.
So what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to resolve your issue?
I'm just gonna try calling earlier. I honestly don't know because this is a really sad story. So there were 2 separate calls. So the first time I was on hold for an hour and 40 minutes and I forgot because I had been doing work while I let the hold go and I had muted my phone so that I wouldn't be reading a script or something when the person, answered the phone, and they answered and I got on and I was hello, hello, hello. They hung up because I was muted.
Oh no.
So tragic. So then I got on again and then I think I was on until, the office closed or something and I hit a wall and I don't know how.
That's awful.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, that sucks. Good luck. I guess
I
you'll
know.
be calling for a week, and good thing it's not tax season, or
Right.
I don't know when you need an
We'll
answer
see how
by.
that goes. Yeah.
Okay, well, that is all we've got for the news. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to play a game of half full, half empty.
All right, it's game time. Drew Jostad is here to host Half Full, Half Empty. So take it away, Drew.
All right, first up this week. So beginning this fall, FICO scores will begin to take into account buy now, pay later loans. Are you half full or half empty?
This was an interesting story. I learned quite a bit in this piece. Was this on your show or was it on the PM show?
I think it was on Morning.
Morning. They were listening to so much content because all the marketplace reporters, we always try to listen to everything that everyone's doing, but sometimes it blends together. But
yes,
one of the
definitely.
things that I learned when I was listening to this story was that, with classic credit reports, the way that they work now, anytime you apply for a new line of credit, it like
Right.
dings your credit report and it can be damaging. But because it's generally taken as a sign as you don't have the money and so you're asking for credit, therefore that means you may be a little bit more financially vulnerable. But that's not really how everybody uses these buy now pay later
Right.
loans. Sometimes they just want to spread the payments out because they can, and it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean that they're struggling. And so they're going to have to kind of rework the whole system to figure out a better way to incorporate these loans. And on the one hand, it could give an opportunity to build credit for people who might
Right.
not be able to get a credit card or who might not be able to get a loan, like a traditional loan. But on the other hand, for folks who may not have been the most, let's say, I don't want to say like wise with it because you never know what someone's situation is, but people
Yeah.
who maybe are using these in ways that are not the most economically beneficial, we'll say, it could damage them more than it could
Right.
help them. So where do we land on this?
I feel like it has
Yeah,
potential.
go ahead. You feel like it has potential.
Yeah, I'm
think it
gonna be
does
optimistic about
too.
it.
I'm gonna say half full, because maybe if these are a little bit more documented, we can get a better picture of like the
Yeah.
debt that people are actually carrying, assuming that, you know, we have reliable economic data from anywhere. It might help us get a better picture of the broader economy. So I'm going to say half full and hopes that it will help maybe some of the unbanked folks build credit a little bit easier.
Yeah, I
What's
think
the
it's
next one?
always, looking for alternatives to traditional FICO scores seems potential. So half full for me too.
Let's do it.
Next up, are you half full or half empty on putting charitable giving on your wedding registry?
So this was
definitely on
a
the PM
story.
show.
Yes, this was definitely on the PM story from Savannah Peters about, especially as people get married later in life, often you are already set up with your dishes and your linens and all the things that, people put on their wedding registries. And so seeing a trend of people instead, putting a charitable giving campaign on or in place of a registry. I mean, I'm totally helpful on this. I think like all wedding traditions and all of the, and when I say traditions, I mean like the modern, like 20th century capitalist ones, I think should just be burned to the ground and just like reinvented because they're all highly suspect to me. So big half empty on this. Half full.
There's a lot of half full on this. Oh my God. Sorry, the cat is climbing on something precarious. Just if you hear a crash, that's what's going on. Mary Beth in the chat has said that her husband and she did it, and it was a second marriage for both. We asked for donations instead. And then Tom Beck asked, who gets the tax benefit from these gifts? Very interesting question. And Joe, appropriately, Joe Money says, overflowing. I hated the gift pile and ceremonial unwrapping. That would have been a great
Yes.
idea when I got
Oh,
married way
God.
back in the 1990s, way back in the 1900s. Way back in the 1900s. Jeez. It's funny. This often comes up when people are like, oh, is it appropriate to ask for like money for a honeymoon or for
Right.
a house or something like that? And I feel like that the verdict is out, especially as was pointed out in the story among older generations about that thing. But I feel like people
Yes.
can get on board a little bit more with charitable contributions. Although I like giving presents sometimes. Like one of our colleagues recently got married and they didn't really want gifts, and I was that person who gave like a wrapped gift anyway, just because like I wanted to, and I was like, am I a bad person for that? But there we go.
The thing I want to rewrite is the like when you are close friends with someone and you're going to the wedding shower and you're going to the bachelorette party and you're going to the wedding, and each one it's like you got to bring something and then they open it in front of. I hate this. I hate this.
No. I didn't have a wedding party and like a
Same.
bridal party in my wedding just to save my friends the hassle.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm half full on it. What's the next one?
So helpful.
Half full or half empty on the California Post?
Oh, well, I mean, just for the headlines alone, doubling the headlines for California, I'm so half full on it. So half full.
Wait, you said the California Post?
Yes. So New York
This
Post.
is
I
the
missed this
yep.
story.
New
Go
York
ahead.
Post is coming to California and
No,
bringing
I'm
its
looking at the.
sassy, ridiculous headlines to California politics. So, and all of California weird goings on. So, as a Californian who enjoys and is envious of New Yorkers getting their New York Post headlines, I am half full on it. Although, I mean, obviously, I
But
don't know if it's
like,
necessarily good
don't
for
they?
society.
Don't you already have all these like entertainment celebrity gossip magazines? Like, isn't that kind of the same thing that those like paparazzi type magazines and things like in California? Doesn't that already fill that space?
It's a little different. I feel like it's different enough.
I wonder what a Washington D.C. version of that would be like. It'd be like all of the things that like the journalists around Washington D.C. know about politicians, but we would never put in writing, and they just like put it out there for everyone and be like, "We don't care, sue us for defamation."
Honestly, I'm just always excited when any like journalism entity pays attention to California because I think it's vastly undercovered. So, have fun.
Okay, well, that is not a take I have heard before. That California is one of the more undercovered places in the country.
Comparatively, you know, to its eminence and to its population, like
Fair,
yeah.
fair. All right, then just purely on your recommendation alone, I'm going to go half full. Is it time for the poll now, Drew?
Yes, it is. Warm up those voting fingers.
Okay.
And be sure to like us and follow the channel, please and thank you.
Okay, so Instagram's new map view will let you tag your posts and reels with a location or even opt into sharing your location with your friends whenever you open the app. Are you half full or half empty?
I saw that as soon as it happened, and the speed at which I turned that feature off, I know we're supposed to delay a little bit and vamp, but the quickness with which I turned that feature off on Instagram, I was like, oh no, this is terrible.
Absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Because you know a lot of people are going to forget to turn it off.
Yeah, and I went and I actually did look, and I was like, all right, who that I know has not turned this off already? And it was a surprising number of people who were just like letting their location be floating around in the universe. And I was just like, wow, that's a security and safety risk for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you and I are technically public figures, so there's
Right.
an additional level of concern about people, knowing where we are, especially, we're covering something controversial or whatever. But just, yeah.
Right. I mean,
And like, especially for kids who have accounts, I know kids aren't
ooh,
supposed to have accounts, but they do,
right.
like
Yeah.
having, and I'm just imagining like if your followers can see where you are, and a lot of people just want to have a lot of followers, so they maybe
Yeah.
aren't so discerning about who their followers are.
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah.
yeesh, red flags all over the place.
Yeah. Although
Have you turned
I
it
will
off on
say,
yours?
I haven't turned it off. I actually was not aware of this, but I will go and turn it off immediately. I don't even, post photos. I always post photos with a delay. I never post like live photos of like, here I am at this place, or like, here I'm on vacation. I'm so paranoid. I won't even do that. However, like I have my mom has shared her location with me, And
Mhm.
and I have like my husband shares location with me when he goes on trips or something because I get nervous about him driving. And there have been so many times I've gotten used to that, and I'm like, I just want to know where this person is. Why can't I know their location? Why can't everyone send me their location at all times? Like, I need to know if this person is home for me to go visit or something. Like, but no, absolutely not. It's completely outrageous. Don't do it. Half empty.
Amy Carlson says in the chat, someone didn't consult any woman before making this feature. Jefferson says, I opted in apparently until a friend told me.
Oof.
And let's see, what else?
That should definitely not be set to a default of having to opt out. That should be set to a
Let,
default of off.
let me look at this article to make sure and see if it is opt-in. Let me see. Many users have been
According to the
shocked to
Instagram
see their
website, it's off
yeah.
unless you
Okay.
opt in.
Okay.
Okay. Many users have been shocked to see their own locations on the Instagram map that the social network's head, Adam Mosseri, posted a clarification on Thursday that your location will only be shared if you decide to share it. Oh, I see. The app nudges you to opt in a passive, let's see. It combines two forms of location sharing. First, it includes locations you have actively tagged in recent Instagram stories or posts, which I never do. Second, the app nudges you to opt in to a new form of passive location sharing, letting friends see wherever you last opened the app, even just to scroll through it.
What?
So I think
Why?
that's what I saw was this like little pop-up that was like, oh, here's a new feature. Don't you want to do it? And I was like, no.
Oh my God. Wow.
Okay, so here's what this is from the Washington Post story. How to stop it. To make sure you're not on Instagram map, select no one under who can see your location in settings. Also, don't actively tag location on your post stories and reels. And even better, stop Instagram from collecting location data about you by going to your phone settings, selecting privacy, then location, and turning off location for Instagram entirely, which is probably the safer bet. Let's look at the poll results. Unsurprisingly,
yeah.
94% of folks are half empty on this, 5% are half full. Okay.
Yeah.
The 5% of you can share your location with each other. Oh my goodness. All right. That is a wrap on this week. We are going to see you all on Monday. In the meantime, please send your comments and questions. I'm sorry, the cat is in the middle of things. Please send your comments and questions and your wins to Make Me Smart at marketplace.org or leave us a voicemail at 508-UB-SMART.
Make Me Smart is produced by Courtney Bergseeker. Today's episode was engineered by Charlton Thorpe.
The team behind our YouTube live stream is Emily McCune and Antoinette Brock. Daisy Palacios is our supervising senior producer. Nancy Fargali is our executive producer of Marketplace shows, and Joanne Griffith is our chief content officer. Oh look, Artax finally decides to join the chat.
He's really playing.
He really is.